You're lying in bed at 2 in the morning, and your heart does that thing. That weird skip. That flutter. Like it forgot what it was doing for a second and then caught back up. You lie there completely still, waiting for it to happen again. And it does. So you grab your phone and you Google it. And every single result says the same thing. Take magnesium. So you do. You buy the bottle, you take it every day, maybe for weeks, maybe for months, and it's still happening. That skip at 2 in the morning hasn't gone anywhere. So now you're wondering, is this something serious? Did the internet lie to you? Or are you just taking the wrong thing? Here's what actually happened. A clinical trial with almost 500,000 people recently confirmed what you already suspected. Magnesium supplements alone don't fix heart rhythm problems. 500,000 data points. No benefit. Zero. But the reason it failed isn't because magnesium doesn't matter. It's because magnesium was never supposed to work by itself. There's a second piece to this puzzle that almost nobody talks about, and your body has been quietly making that piece harder to get every single year. If you're new here, welcome to Yellowhead Science, where we break down real health and lifestyle science in a way that actually makes sense. Join us. Hit subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a video. Let's start with what's actually happening inside your chest when your heart does that skip. Every single heartbeat depends on a tiny molecular machine sitting on the surface of your heart cells. It's called the sodium-potassium pump. Think of it like a revolving door. It pushes 3 sodium ions out of the cell and pulls 2 potassium ions in. That movement creates the electrical charge your heart needs to beat in rhythm. Every beat, all day, all night. This pump never stops. Here's the part that changes everything. This pump doesn't run on its own. It needs a specific mineral to function, and that mineral is magnesium. Without enough magnesium, the pump slows down. Sodium starts piling up inside the cell. Potassium can't get in. And calcium, which is supposed to be tightly regulated, starts flooding in through a secondary channel that should be mostly closed. That calcium overload is what makes heart cells fire when they shouldn't. That's the skip. That's the flutter you feel lying in the dark at 2 in the morning. And you're wondering if something is seriously wrong. And this isn't just theory. In one controlled study, researchers put healthy people with no heart problems at all, on a low magnesium diet. Just 100 milligrams a day, roughly a third of what you should be getting. Within 42 to 64 days, those participants developed atrial fibrillation and atrial flutter. Not occasional skipped beats, actual diagnosable arrhythmias, caused by diet alone, in people who were perfectly healthy before the study started. But here's what makes this more than just a magnesium story. When researchers looked at what happens in people who are low in magnesium, they found something that completely reframes the conversation. The most common laboratory sign of magnesium deficiency isn't a heart problem. It's low potassium. Think about that. You go to the doctor because your heart is skipping. They check your potassium. It's low. They tell you to eat more bananas or take a potassium supplement. And that sounds reasonable. But here's the problem. Magnesium controls the pump that regulates potassium. So when magnesium drops, potassium drops right behind it. And you can take all the potassium supplements you want, but your potassium levels will not normalize until your magnesium is fixed first. Doctors actually have a clinical rule for this. Always replete magnesium before potassium. Because without magnesium, the potassium has nowhere to go. The door is stuck. This is exactly why one video tells you to take magnesium, and another tells you to take potassium. They're both half right. Neither one alone is the full answer. Your heart runs on a cascade. Magnesium powers the pump controls potassium, and potassium stabilizes the rhythm. Break any link in that chain, and the whole system misfires. And that study with 500,000 people, it gave magnesium to critically ill patients and measured heart rhythm outcomes. But it never addressed whether those patients' potassium was being managed alongside the magnesium. If you fix one link in the chain but ignore the other, of course the chain still breaks. Now, If this affected everyone equally, it would still be important. But it doesn't. And the data on this is sobering. A major study followed over 3,500 people for 20 years. They found that the lowest magnesium levels meant 50% higher risk of atrial fibrillation. And not a small bump in risk. 50% higher, just from being in the bottom quarter of magnesium levels. And as you get older, 3 things happen simultaneously that make this electrolyte cascade dramatically worse. First, your body produces less acid in your digestive system. And you need that acid to break down and absorb magnesium from food. So even if you're eating all the right things, the dark leafy greens, the nuts, the seeds, you're pulling less magnesium out of them with every passing year. The food hasn't changed. Your ability to extract what you need from it has. Second, your kidneys start wasting more magnesium. The filtration system that's supposed to recycle magnesium back into your bloodstream becomes less efficient over time. You're literally losing it faster than you can take it in. Third, and this is especially relevant for women, the decline in estrogen during and after menopause directly reduces how well cells hold on to magnesium internally. So even if your blood levels look completely normal on a standard test, your cells can be running on empty. And that leads to one of the biggest problems in how magnesium deficiency actually gets diagnosed. If you go to your doctor and say your heart has been skipping, they'll probably run a standard metabolic panel. That panel includes serum magnesium. And if the number comes back in the normal range, you'll be told you're fine. But here's what that test actually measures. Less than 1% of the magnesium in your body. 99% of your magnesium lives inside your cells and in your bones. That blood test is looking at the puddle on the floor and telling you the pool is full. Roughly 20% of hospitalized patients who tested normal were actually magnesium deficient. More sensitive tests caught what the standard one missed. In postmenopausal women with osteoporosis, it's even worse. 84% were deficient on a proper loading test. 84% tested normal, actually deficient. So when that big trial gave magnesium and saw no improvement, you have to ask, were they even testing the right thing? They used a standard serum cutoff to decide who needed supplementation. But if that cutoff misses most of the people who are actually deficient, then the trial wasn't really measuring what happens when you fix a true magnesium deficit. It was giving extra magnesium to people who may not have needed it. That's a very different experiment. That distinction matters, and it's something almost nobody in the health space is being honest about. So what should you actually do? You're lying in bed feeling that skip. So here's what the research actually supports. And I want to be upfront about what we know and what we don't. First, and this is important, not all heart palpitations come from electrolyte problems. Thyroid disorders, structural heart conditions, and other issues can cause them too. If palpitations are frequent, severe, or come with dizziness, chest pain, or shortness of breath, see a doctor. What I'm about to walk you through is not a replacement for a medical evaluation. It's the nutritional piece that most evaluations completely overlook. Step 1. Fix magnesium first and choose the right form. Not all magnesium supplements are the same. One study tested 400 milligrams of magnesium oxide daily for 12 weeks. It raised serum levels, but did nothing for premature atrial contractions. Oxide is the form you'll find in most cheap supplements, and your body barely absorbs it. Magnesium glycinate and magnesium taurate are significantly better absorbed. Taurate is particularly interesting because taurine, the amino acid it's bonded to, is naturally concentrated in heart muscle and appears to work synergistically with magnesium for cardiovascular function. Aim for 300 to 400 milligrams of elemental magnesium daily, split into 2 doses, morning and evening. And give it time. A minimum of 6 weeks before expecting meaningful changes. Step 2. Address potassium alongside magnesium, not instead of it. Remember, potassium won't stabilize until the magnesium pump is working again. A study with 232 patients tested this. Combined magnesium and potassium cut premature beats by over 17% in 3 weeks. Focus on potassium-rich foods: avocado, spinach, sweet potato, white beans. These are foods most people aren't eating enough of, and they give you potassium in the form your body handles best. Step 3. Address the absorption problem. As your body ages, you naturally absorb less magnesium even from a great diet. Eating magnesium-rich foods with meals rather than on an empty stomach improves absorption. And if you're taking acid-blocking medications, the kind millions of people take daily for reflux, know that those medications directly impair mineral absorption. That doesn't mean stop taking them. It means talk to your doctor about whether they're still necessary and whether your mineral levels are being monitored. Step 4. Don't overdo it. And this is the part nobody mentions. Too much supplemental magnesium can actually trigger the very arrhythmias you're trying to fix. The dose-response curve is not a straight line. There's a sweet spot, and going past it makes things worse. Stay within 300 to 400 milligrams, unless your doctor specifically says otherwise based on testing. The real takeaway here isn't that magnesium fixes palpitations. It's that your heart's electrical system is a cascade, and that cascade needs both magnesium and potassium working together to keep the rhythm stable. Fix one without the other, and you've only solved half the problem. And every year, your body makes both halves a little harder to maintain on their own. That skip you feel at 2 in the morning? It might not be something wrong with your heart. It might be something missing from your diet. Something your heart has been trying to tell you about for a long time. If this changed how you think about heart palpitations, leave a comment and tell me. Have you been supplementing magnesium alone, or did you know about the potassium connection? I really do love reading every single one. And if you want more science-backed health lifestyle strategies designed for someone just like you, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one. I'll see you in the next video.